It's really hard for people to believe this, but as somebody who covered the team up close and in person, has seen the upgrades, the state-of-the-art complex, and the resources found internally with the program, I can confidently say that yes, Texas A&M could be a great program. They could be an elite program in the SEC. They have everything that Alabama has, everything that Texas has, everything that Georgia has, everything that LSU has. They are not short of resources out in College Station. What they've been short of is having the right head coach like the other four haven't. And that's why I don't say that they are a great program. I'm not even sure if they're a good program right now, but they can be. That is the clue word here, can be. And especially now with Mike Elko at the helm. The guy just fits exactly what is needed at Kyle Field. The no-nonsense defensive mentality that led with R.C. Slocum taking the Aggies and the Maroon Goons to a Southwest Conference title. That's what you're going to get on Saturdays moving forward in College Station. But we're doing this X Factor series. Somebody has got to step up. Who is that difference maker coach or that difference maker player? And in my opinion, it starts and ends with the reigning Big Ten champion, now returning close to home, with Nic Scourton. So what's going on, SEC Unfiltered? It's Cole Thompson here. Make sure that you like the video, hit the ring notification down below. That way you don't miss a single episode of SECU, especially this week because we got media days, nonstop action coming your way. Download the podcast version of the show. Follow us on all the social channels at SEC Unfiltered. And make sure that you visit secunfiltered.com. This episode is brought to you by RHOBACK. Use promo code SECU for 20% off all joggers, polos, hoodies, shorts, much, much more. Look good, feel good this upcoming fall on game days with RHOBACK at SECU, 20% off. So, Nic Scourton was actually not established with Texas A&M, which is so baffling because if he grew up right across the town in Bryan, which is basically parallel to College Station, it's not College Station, Bryan College Station Eagle is a newspaper. They share that same kind of thing, but that's not, they're two different entities. College Station High School, Bryan High School. I'm going on a rant, not the point. Scorton actually was not recruited by Texas A&M when Elko was the defensive coordinator for Jimbo Fisher in College Station. And so as he continued to grow and blossom and turn into what we now know as a superstar, he was lanky and had to put on that weight. So what did he do? He went and he showed that he was capable of playing D1 football at a high-end level at a smaller program like Purdue. And last season, Ryan Walters comes on in. It's a brand new era of Boilermaker football. And there's questions around the squad. I don't think many people believe that the Walters that we saw last year was going to be the exact same emulation of what he did when he was at Illinois. And there were some hiccups. They weren't a great team. They finished 4-8. But they did have arguably the best player in the Big Ten last year with Scorton, who led the conference in sacks, finished top 3 in tackles for losses, finished top 2 in pressure rates, did everything imaginable, won all Big Ten honors, and now had an opportunity to commit to himself and pick and choose where he wanted to go. And that's a key thing there, ladies and gentlemen, is that when you look back at the conversations that have been going on inside the press conferences with Nic Scourton, he said, I could have gone anywhere. I chose to come back and play at Kyle Field. I chose to come and play for Mike Elko. And it's a smart move because here's the thing, guys. He is a stud when it comes to defining defensive linemen. There are a ton of players currently that are now going in on Sundays and being X factors for their team because they worked with Mike Elko. Elko is the czar of defensive linemen. The way that you would trust grandma and grandpa watching your kids when you have a good relationship with them is the way that I trust if I was a parent of a 5-star defensive lineman wanting to go make it to the NFL with Elko. I know I'm going to get my son into the next level. I know his name will be called by Roger Goodell. And I know he's going to be taught everything that's needed for defensive line. And there's some good defensive linemen already back in College Station this year. Shamar Turner didn't go anywhere. You didn't lose DJ Hicks. You still have Gabriel Brownlow-Dindy, who might finally reach his 5-star status. You still have Shamar Turner, probably a name or two that I'm leaving off right now because if that's how loaded and deep this College Station front seven is. It's not Maroon Goons 2.0, but holy crap, the Aggies have talent. But you have to have that fixture. You got to have the guy that is immediately already shown what it's like to play at a high-end level. And this offense, I think, could be really good. Headlined by a great rushing attack with Reuben Owens, Le'Veon Moss, Amari Daniels. You're getting back Donovan Green at tight end, who missed all of last year because of a torn ACL. Connor Wegman, if he can stay healthy this season, which, by the way, he's not injury prone. I've seen multiple people say this before. The guy had one injury. He can't stay healthy. That's a lie. What it is he got hurt last year, and now you're wondering, will that injury hinder his success moving forward? The thing that's going to hinder his success, in my opinion, is does he fit perfectly for Colin Klein's offense? Can Klein get the best version out of him the way he was able to get with Will Howard and Avery Johnson last year out in Manhattan? And probably the most important asset that isn't getting talked about enough, who's the number one wide receiver? Is it going to be Moose Muhammad? Is it going to be Noah Thomas? Is it going to be Donovan Green coming back? Is it going to be a guy like Isaiah Williams, the 4-star phenom with pure lightning speed in a bottle that flipped at the last second from Florida to A&M? Who's going to be that dude? But I don't have to really worry about the offense for the first few games. Notre Dame, against when you play Florida. I can go and kind of coast so long as my defense is delivering on that side. And Scorton's the number one guy. The big thing about him is that he is still learning how to play defensive end. Like, I talk to people in the Texans organization all the time about Will Anderson, who went from being an outside linebacker to a defensive end last year. And everyone has said when he's able to just get the basics down, master that, watch out for all pro seasons in the AFC South. Well, that's Scorton right now. This entire spring, he learned how to play defensive end with his hand in the dirt and how to bull rush from the outside instead of being from a 2-point stance. And if you go back and watch the maroon and white game, you realize that he could have killed quarterbacks. Like his own teammates, he could have decapitated them, but they finally said, okay, just slow down. You already have 3 sacks on the day. We don't need you finishing with 7. He's going to be able to do that against other offensive linemen. Maybe not the elites of the elites like Will Campbell and Emory Jones and even Kelvin Banks every single Saturday, but when they face off against Auburn, he can do that. When they face off against Notre Dame week 1, there's no more Joe Alt, Blake Fisher. He could easily do that. There's no more going up against Arkansas. You got that down in the books. You can be able to hold your own, I think, against Alabama. Against the right side of the line for Texas. There's going to be talent that Scorton will just scare the living piss out of, and he's going to be right in that double-digit sack category. It's not going to shock me. It shouldn't shock you if he ends up putting up the same type of numbers that he did in the Big Ten last year and ends up being a first-round pick. There's something about having a whiz like Mike Elko teaching you the ins and outs, the fundamentals, the nuances of how to play a position, and how in a spring game, you already show, yeah, I'm not even a finished product. Look at what I'm already doing. If A&M gets that version of Scorton every single Saturday, you're talking about a defense that is going to not only keep you in games, but win you games. And I'm talking about the main ones. I'm not saying Arkansas, which should be a win, or Florida, which should be a win, or even I would probably throw in maybe a Notre Dame. I'm talking about games against Missouri. I'm talking about games against LSU. I'm talking about games against Texas. The first time that we're going to get the Lone Star rivalry or the Lone Star showdown back at Kyle Field since 2011. Those are games where you're going to see Scorton step up and he is going to deliver. And he can. So if I'm getting that version of him, plus with the rest of the defensive line, plus with my linebacking core, a solid secondary, and an offense that could get better with more time, with more repetition, I know going into 2024, A&M is going to be trending upward. I'm not picking A&M to do anything this year. I've been burnt too many times in the past. I've been fooled too many times in the past. You got to show it to me, Mike Elko. I want A&M to be good. And I think A&M being good in college football is great for the sport. It's great for the SEC. It's great for everyone because they can be a villain that everyone wants to beat. The way that we talk about with Colorado saying, yeah, well, we're going to be everyone's Super Bowl. No, you're going to be everyone's must-win game because you won't shut the hell up. At A&M, you could be everyone's Super Bowl because if you have the same resources as Georgia, as Alabama, as LSU, as Texas, to be a premier program, but you got to be able to get the wins. I'm not going to pick A&M to do much this year. I think 8-4 is on the table. I think at best 9-3. I could see another 7-5 season, but it's a start for something moving forward, which is a good thing. It's a great baseline. Maybe you defy all odds and I'm 100% wrong and I have egg on my face. I don't know. But I will say, if Scorton is the viable threat that I believe he will be, the same way he was in West Lafayette, returning closer to home to play in front of the fans that are just going to be traveling over from Bryan High, you're going to see results immediately underneath Mike Elko. Elko, in my opinion, was always the right hire, and Scorton was always meant to play underneath him at some point in his career. But let me know in the comment section down below Who is Texas A&M's X factor for 2024? Is it Nic Scourton? Is it potentially another defensive player? Is it Connor Weigman? Is it the run game? Let me know in the comments section. Follow us on social media, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at SEC Unfiltered. Download the podcast version of the show wherever you get your podcast listening systems. And to keep up with the #1 content surrounding your favorite teams, make sure that you visit SECUnfiltered.com. I'm Cole Thompson. Until next time, folks, later.